So, Gothic, like all Germanic languages, including English, has what are called strong verbs and weak verbs. The other kind is a verb. The third kind is the least common. It's called a preterite present, but in any case, the main two are strong and weak. So the difference is, in strong verbs, you have I give versus I gave. As you can see, the vowel changes. Whereas in weak verbs, I bake, I baked. And as you can see, the past tense is marked with this D at the end. And that's so the weak verbs are the regular verbs in English. If something is turned into a verb, it will usually become a weak verb as opposed to a strong verb. But these strong verbs are also some of the most common words in the English language, so they should be pretty familiar. You might need to, learn a little bit, memorize some stuff, but it's not too bad. It should be pretty familiar. So, and the next thing you need to know is that if you learn things like Spanish or German or a lot of languages like that, you'll know that they have a lot more different forms of the verb. So in English we have, let's say I eat. We have I give versus he gives, and then we have you give, and the rest of them are all the same as the form for I. So the only special one is he gives, and pretty much every verb. The exception of course, is I am, he is, she is, and you are, which has am for the first person, but then it still has they are and we are. But Gothic, being more conservative language being spoken a long time ago, preserved more of the Proto-Germanic cases, so all of them are different. No, not all of them are different. There are two of them which are the same. So if you say quitheth, that could be you say, but it could also be he says. And the next thing you need to know is that Gothic is what's called a pro-drop language. So that's another thing where if you're familiar with Spanish, you'll be familiar with that. And that, that's pretty natural with how every, like, quitha, I say, quitham, we say, quithis, you singular say, quithith, you all say, quithith, he, she says, or they singular say, and then quithand for like they plural say. So we used to have a system more like that in older English, where we would say like thou givest or whatever, but nowadays we just have only have the he says, which is different. Everything else is just say, and that goes for pretty much all of the verbs, and except for to be, which is different. But anyways, as I was saying, if you speak Spanish, you know that tengo is I have, and you don't need to say yo tengo. But that if you do say yo tengo, that's putting emphasis that I have it. And Gothic works the same way, pretty much. So if you say Iquitha, is then what you're saying is I say to you. So, quithan ist, it is said, Quitha English. It is said, but I say to you. Quithanist. That should be Aki Iquitha English, or also Athan, or Ith could also work here. Quithanist. Them erizam. Nemurthres. So it is said to them of earlier times, do not murder, but I say, it's you plural, so nimurthrid ithiquithaedris. So, but I say to you, anyways, so then we have the past tense, and the past tense is a bit harder because on the vowel that it changes to is not consistent. It's different in the singular and the plural. So in the singular, it's an quath, quast, quath again. So he, she said, and I said are the same. So you either have to put the pronoun or, just in most cases it's clear from context, especially if you have like something like, like someone specifically said, like, let's say, Wufila, then it's obvious that Wufila is the one who said because we have that. But if you just say Quath, depending on context, it could just be I said, and you don't have to, specify that Quath. But in the plural, then you get this quethum, quethuth, quethum. So it's all with this a, quath. I said quethum. He said quast. You said quethuth. You all said quath. He/she said quethum. They said. And then we have these other verbs which are pretty common. We have livan. So you just do the same thing. Just replace the ending. So if we take give, we get giva, givam, givish, giveth, givand, and giveth. I did that out of order, but it doesn't matter. And then we have the past tense. So we have raf, raft, raf again, and then we have this would be revum because there's a vowel after it, so it doesn't get devoiced. That's another thing to keep in mind. You can't have stuff like of at the end of a word. It always gets devoiced to of. Same like after any vowel. That's not true if there's a nasal consonant before it. Then you get lamb with a hard B, not like in English lamb, but the B is still pronounced lamb. So we say lamb, but if we said it with the B, it would be lamb. And I don't know, maybe some people say it like that. But certainly it isn't common in English. But we definitely, want to make sure we say it in Gothic. Lamb, not lam without the B. Lamb, lamba. Keep in mind, my pronunciation isn't perfect, so I might pronounce the vowels long or short or, too lax or too tense or whatever. But just, I would recommend trying to say them as they are in German. Maybe listen to some recordings of Germans saying them. So for the, we have gevum, gevus, gevun, because it's all, we have that a in the plural past tense. And one thing to keep in mind is the verb shehwan, which is, you might have noticed all of these have I, givan, gwithan, gwiman, itan, legan, shitan, but then shehwan with this one. I mean, it's not pronounced it's pronounced shehwan with a short e sound, like in bed. Shehwan, shehwan. And why is it pronounced that way? All of these verbs, these strong 5 verbs, are actually had an E in Proto-Germanic. So we had, crap, I have the wrong font. So we have, oh no, I don't have the wrong font, I have the wrong keyboard, that's it. So we have Gebano, we have Quethon, this would usually be written with a K, but in Old English, if you speak that, you'll see that it has a C, Quethon, Quethono. We have Queman. So if you speak Old English, which I don't know how many of you do, but you're learning Gothic, or at least interested in it, so you might know some of it. These are all the Proto-Germanic forms. And so we have Legano. Oh, wait. I think it should be, because it's week 5, so they all have E in Proto-Germanic, the short E. Actually, I think it was a E, not E. E. Like in German, Z, but shorter. And we have Sehwano. And so, like, it, Satan, with a tense E, like in German, Satan. So the fate of this vowel is it always becomes I in Gothic. Always, always, always becomes I. So these are all I. And the on is lost, so we get rid of the on. And so now, as you can see, it's pretty much the same as in Gothic. Only difference is the orthography is written in the Proto-Germanic orthography. But anyways, this Sihuan actually becomes this H actually causes the I to become an E. So it becomes pronounced like Sihuan with the sound in bed. But this E is written AI. So it's E. So AI, if you saw the earlier videos, it's usually pronounced long when it's not followed by the H. So we have E, and there's also O. But because it comes from this short I, it actually remains short. The H doesn't lengthen it. So we have Sehwan. So there are some things that look like irregularities where you would expect IH or UH or IR or UR, but then these become and O and and OR. So, and they're all short, so not to be confused with, let me just make sure, this is going to record it. I just thought, since it's at the bottom of the screen, I didn't know whether it was getting captured. But then we have this this I and Au in Proto-Germanic, which become, in Gothic, O, and they're written the same, but pronounced differently, so we have O, which are long. So because they come from diphthongs, I, ow, they remain long in Gothic. So if Sehwan really was from Saihwan, then it would be Sehwan with the longer eh sound. And, once again, the length is probably off, since I don't really have length in my native language of English. My native dialect of English, I guess you could say, because some dialects do. But if it's from, so we have Hohas in Proto-Germanic, which becomes Gothic Hochs. I'll just switch to the Gothic keyboard. Hochs. Hochs. So if it was from Huhas, it would still be spelled the same, but it would be short Hochs. But it's from Hauhas, so it becomes Hochs. That's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about today, so I don't know when the next episode will be. I'm not very consistent, but oh well. Leave any comments if you have questions. Goodbye.